Something happened to you this Friday. You may not have the precise words to describe it, but something inside your chest shifted, as if a puzzle piece that had been stuck for years finally slid into its correct place. You feel a strange expectancy, a silence that sounds like a promise, and yet a part of you hesitates to believe that the new beginning you've prayed for so long is, in fact, knocking at your door. I am here to tell you exactly what that movement was. You carry a silent question, a doubt that no one around you can answer, but that today, at this very moment, will meet its destiny. Stay with me now, for this moment is a contract of recognition. By the end of our conversation, you will identify the 3 signs of calibration that have been present in your recent days and understand why they are not signs of exhaustion, but of adjustment. You will comprehend the invisible pattern that has kept the door to your new beginning only slightly ajar, and more importantly, you will receive confirmation of a truth your spirit already knows, but that your mind still tries to deny. Why do you feel ready, yet the world around you seems to still be at the old station? Why does the weariness you feel not lift with ordinary rest? Have you noticed your sleep being interrupted, not by anxiety, but by a sudden lucidity, as if something were calling you to be awake in hours when the world usually sleeps? You've realized that conversations which once brought you comfort now seem empty, echoing words that no longer align with the frequency of your soul. You've seen repeated numbers appearing in random places, clocks showing matching times, license plates, sequences that, while they may seem like coincidences, leave a mark of strangeness and profound familiarity within you. What you call misalignment, I call calibration. What you interpret as a growing distance between you and your usual circles is merely the necessary alignment. The weariness you carry is not a lack of energy. It is the weight of carrying a version of yourself that no longer fits into what is being built for your future. You are being prepared. The new beginning does not demand that you build anything new, but that you clear out the space that is already yours. Your fingers typing these 3 numbers represent your response, your silent yes to the process you yourself asked to initiate. It is the smallest of agreements, but the most real, for it seals the commitment to what is coming. Type 888, and then come immediately back to me. The diagnosis of your exhaustion is not effort, but resistance. You have been trying to force open doors that no longer belong on your route, maintaining a defensive posture against a past that no longer has power over your home. It is like trying to hold up the roof of a structure that is already being renovated without realizing the foundation was swapped while you slept. You are living in the old part of a house that has already been renovated, guarding furniture that should have been donated to time long ago. You have been operating under the false premise that exhaustion is the price to pay for your transformation. You have believed, perhaps for years, that your evolution depends on one last round of superhuman effort, one last steep climb, one last exertion of will to ensure that what you desire finally materializes. But what you are living through now is the depletion of what no longer needs you. You are exhausted from holding the ropes of a balloon that has already cut its tether, struggling to maintain control of a reality that, in truth, is already being replaced by another. Your pattern has been the relentless pursuit, the movement of someone who believes the new beginning is a trophy to be won at the end of a marathon, when, in fact, the new beginning is the very decompression of the one who stops running and finally recognizes the ground they are standing on. Imagine for a moment your life as an ancestral house. For decades, you have lived in every room, cared for every wall, tried to fix every leak, and painted the surfaces so everything would seem functional and welcoming. You know every loose floorboard, every dark corner, every inch of that structure. But what you haven't realized, because you were too busy trying to keep the house standing, is that the architect has already been through, He has already reinforced the beams, rewired the electricity, insulated the foundations, and prepared each room with a new light and a structure that does not give way. Yet you continue to live in the attic of the old part. You still carry keys to doors that no longer exist. You still sleep with one eye open, tending to furniture that has already been replaced by elements you cannot yet see, because you insist on looking at what was, instead of inhabiting what is. This house metaphor is not merely an exercise of imagination, it is the exact portrait of your current state of mind. You feel tired because you are trying to inhabit two spaces at once. You have one foot in the future, which is already ready and renovated, and the other foot in the old structure you refuse to abandon for fear of the emptiness change brings. You fear that if you stop fighting, if you stop trying to control every detail, the house will collapse. But the truth your spirit whispers when you finally grow quiet, is that the renovation is already complete. The house is already ready. The new beginning you seek is not something you will build tomorrow, but something you will occupy as soon as you decide to leave the old part. You are trapped in the habit of survival, when, in truth, all that remains for you is the act of dwelling. This simple recognition is the seal you place upon this revelation, the exact moment you step out of resistance and into acceptance. It is your way of saying you have stopped fighting and are now ready to occupy the space that already belongs to you. Type "I am here" and then come immediately back to me. The solution to your anguish is not more effort, it is return. You need to understand that the new beginning is not a goal, it is a state of presence. You do not need more energy, you need less resistance. The energy you spend trying to predict the next steps, trying to ensure your trajectory is logical or understandable to others, is the same energy blocking the flow of what is already ready to manifest. What awaits you does not demand you transform into someone different. It demands you allow yourself to be who you already are, stripped of the armor life has required you to wear until now. Letting go of control does not mean being irresponsible. It means being wise enough to recognize there is an order operating behind the apparent chaos. There is an intelligence acting in your favor that does not need you to direct it, only to follow it. When you relax your will, when you stop trying to mold the outcome with tired hands, you allow what is authentic to surface. It is a process of unlearning. You are unlearning distrust, unlearning the need for approval, unlearning the fear that if you don't hold the world, it will fall. Let fall what must fall. What is eternal will remain, and it is exactly there that your new beginning will flourish. Notice that the moment you stop seeking and start receiving, the world around you changes as well. Those who once seemed to be the guardians of your progress become merely observers of your rest. What seemed like a mountain becomes a level path, and the exhaustion you felt in your body begins to be replaced by a silent vitality, a strength that comes not from effort, but from clarity. You are not being tested to see how much you can endure. You are being purified to see how much abundance you can carry. Your capacity to receive is directly proportional to your capacity to let go. Each time you take a deep breath and release a worry that is not yours, you are creating space for the new, which is already knocking at your door, to finally enter. Do not try to rush this movement. The timing of the new beginning does not follow the clock of men. It follows the precision of the seasons. Just as winter does not need to strive to become spring, you do not need to strive to enter your new season. You only need to stop holding on to winter. The change happens the moment you surrender to the process, the moment you accept that your work now is merely the work of being. Your presence is your greatest asset. The fact that you are here, listening to these words, is already part of the transition. You have already crossed the line. What you feel as a weight is, in truth, the transition between effort and grace. If anything we have named here has touched the truth you carry, allow your wordless amen to be the gesture that confirms this moment. Do not look at this as a numbers game. Look at it as a sign of recognition, a way of saying the message has found the right recipient. When you make this gesture, you are simply attesting that the clarity we feel here is not a coincidence, but a scheduled meeting that has finally happened. At this very moment, someone's face appears in your mind. It is not a random thought, it is a summons. It is that person who has been working in silence, someone who demonstrates an almost inhuman resilience, yet maintains the look of one who is exhausted from carrying worlds on their shoulders. It is someone who possesses the quality of being discreetly wise, someone who lives surrounded by many people but feels profoundly alone in their battles, and someone who, lately, has been seeking signs that their effort is not in vain. This person needs to hear what we are discussing here. Send this message to them now, not as a suggestion, but as a delivery. If this word has reached you with authority, it is because you are the channel for it to reach those who still cannot see the way out. Do your part in the chain. Now, before we proceed to close this tuning, we need to seal what has been established. There is a mark you carry that now must be claimed with full awareness. Do not write them as one asking a favor or as one with doubts, but as one signing a decree. Write slowly, feeling each letter, allowing your own hand to confirm what your spirit has already declared. The simple act of seeing these words appear on your screen, written by your own will, is the closing of a cycle of uncertainty that has lasted far too long. You are no longer the same as when we began, because the seed planted through this recognition has already begun to germinate. You are called. You are equipped, you are sent. Each of these statements carries the weight of a truth that cannot be nullified by your past, nor delayed by your fear. The call is not for you to do more, but for you to be more than you have been, operating from a base of rest and not desperation. The equipment already dwells within you, an ancestral wisdom that knows the shortcuts your rational mind still ignores. And the sending is the natural consequence of one who has finally understood that your life does not belong to a personal project, but to a greater purpose that uses your existence as an instrument of light and order in the world. You feel between the lines of your own silence that something in you has readjusted, and this readjustment is not yours alone. There is a frequency being tuned right now by thousands of people around the world, spread across cities, fields, and homes, where silence has also been the only companion of waiting. As you listen, other souls are, at this very moment, finding the same point of rest, the same clarity that has just bathed your interior. It is as if, for a brief moment, the walls separating us have become transparent, revealing that your journey, as unique as it may seem, walks in parallel with that of many others who have also learned to silence the pain, to hear the voice of purpose. You are part of a silent harvest happening on a global scale, where hearts that were distant from each other begin to beat to the same rhythm. This synchronicity is not coincidence. It is proof that something greater is orchestrating this meeting between you and the truth that was delivered to you. You are not an isolated observer of a phenomenon happening to others. You are an active participant in this movement of change, a conductive thread helping to anchor this new vibration on Earth. By recognizing this, you stop carrying the weight of being the only one who understands what is happening and begin to feel the strength of communion, the energy of thousands of consciousnesses that, like yours, have decided to abandon fear to embrace the new beginning. When you allow yourself to feel this connection, the weight of your doubts dissolves, replaced by the certainty that what you are living is not a test of endurance, but a rite of passage into a territory where your presence is the only thing that truly matters. Observe how the environment around you seems to have changed color, as if the shadows that once occupied the corners of your mind have withdrawn before the light of a new understanding. Where there was once a void, there is now a space filled by the conviction that you were brought here not to receive information, but to confirm the identity you always knew you possessed. The collective forming at this moment is a spiritual safety net, an invisible fabric of intentions that supports your next step. You no longer walk alone, for the path illuminates as you advance, revealing that the destination was not a geographical point, but a state of being you have finally inhabited. Looking at the days ahead, notice how the urgency that once dominated your pace has transformed into an active patience. You do not chase life, you attract it. You do not force results, you allow them. This shift in posture is what differentiates those who merely go through life from those who truly conduct it with mastery. You are now integrated into a current of purpose, where every choice, every word, and every gesture are propelled by a clarity that knows no doubt. The pieces that seem disconnected in the puzzle of your trajectory begin to fit together, forming an image you have always intuited but never had the courage to fully name. What you are living now is the result of your surrender, your decision to stop fighting the flow of life and allow the current to carry you to the place where you have always belonged. In this moment of transition, your only task is to keep your attention turned toward this internal source, toward this voice that does not shout, but guides with an authority that dispenses any argument. The days of doubt, the days of self-sabotage, the days of looking to the side to measure your progress through the lives of others, all of that is behind you. You have entered a time where your authority is recognized by your own soul, and that is the only validation you need. The new beginning that opens is not just a new phase, it is the definitive removal of what prevented your true nature from manifesting. You are finally free to be, free to act, free to flourish in the season that was prepared specifically for your growth. The seed planted in the silence of your waiting has broken the surface, and what you see now is only the beginning of what this life is destined to become. Do not look back, for what has passed served only to sculpt your capacity to bear the glory the present now holds for you. Each moment of pain was an expansion of your vessel, a preparation so you could contain the abundance that now begins to flow. Feel, in your chest, the expansion of one who realizes the promise was not forgotten. It was merely being kept for the moment you were ready to live it with integrity. The readiness you feel now is the signature of your soul, agreeing with the trajectory unfolding before your eyes. You no longer need excuses. You no longer need elaborate plans to protect yourself from possible failures, for you now operate under the protection of a truth that does not fail. This is the hour of your alignment, the hour where heaven and earth meet in your life, making the impossible your new pattern of existence. Welcome this moment as one who receives a precious gift long awaited. Let the peace that surpasses all understanding take hold of your system, calming any agitation that still tries to resist the tranquility of your new reality. You are exactly where you should be, doing exactly what needs to be done, and this awareness is your greatest victory. The new beginning you sought so long is, finally, your dwelling place. Do you perceive how the air around you seems to have changed density, as if the very atmosphere were reconfiguring itself to accommodate the new form you are beginning to assume? This is not coincidence, nor is it the product of a tired imagination. It is the physical result of a prayer that has finally found its address. For a long time, you walked as one carrying a map in a territory that kept changing, trying to apply old logic to a landscape that demanded a new vision. That feeling of misalignment, that profound weariness no night of sleep could cure, and the constant perception of repeating numbers, as if the clock wanted to tell you something you did not yet fully understand, All of that was merely the calibration process. Typing these 3 digits is your way of saying yes to this frequency of overflow. It is the smallest of agreements, but the most real, for your physical body registers the alignment your soul has already recognized. Type 888, then return immediately to my voice. The truth underlying this entire process is simpler than your mind insists on believing. You have been operating under a pattern of exhaustion, believing your importance is measured by effort, by struggle, and by the number of obstacles you can overcome alone. But consider the metaphor. You live as one inhabiting an old house, whose structure has already been completely renovated inside, yet you insist on continuing to live only in the darkest, tightest room, afraid to open the door to the rest of the mansion that already belongs to you. The renovation has already happened. The new beginning is not a future construction. It is the occupation of a space that is already ready, illuminated, and prepared for your arrival. You have been seeking out there what is already installed within your own essence. Let this declaration plant your feet firmly in the place where you have finally decided to dwell. Type, and return to what we have to conclude. The solution to what you face is not to add more tasks to your routine, nor to seek new methods of control, but rather the practice of return. It is an unlearning of the chains you yourself forged. There is a lightness that is born when you stop trying to anticipate destiny and begin to trust the path that opens beneath your feet. If this recognition has brought you some comfort, allow your like to be your wordless amen, not as a tally of numbers, but as a gesture of agreement, a spiritual seal that what was named here is the truth you needed to hear. And now, as we move toward the closing, look around you through your mind's eye. There is someone, a specific person who carries a silence similar to your own, someone who works with an invisible diligence and who always seems on the verge of a revelation that never arrives. This person is someone you love, someone whose face has just now surfaced in your memory. Send this message to them, not as advice but as a support, a delivery from one who recognizes that their time has also come. Before we say goodbye, affirm your final destiny and type "I am the chosen one" in the comments below. It is not a hope. It is the acknowledgement of who you are. You are called, you are equipped, you are sent. Right now, all across the world, others are receiving this same recognition tonight. You are part of something that does not announce itself, and that is exactly why it is real. Deep down, you recognize that your journey is not just a series of random events, but a guiding thread that is finally beginning to make sense. What seemed like a desert was, in truth, a training ground for the authority you are about to exercise. The weariness you felt was not weakness, it was the exhaustion of the old self that needed to withdraw so the new, the true one, could take command. Starting today, the way you see obstacles changes. They are no longer barriers blocking the flow, but milestones signaling you are on the right path. Feel this shift now. The weight you carried on your shoulders for so many years begins to dissolve, not because the world around you has changed, but because your perspective has been elevated. You are no longer waiting for external permission to blossom. You have understood that the authority conferred upon you is intrinsic, a gift that cannot be taken away, only ignored. As you move through this moment of clarity, realize that your intuition, that whisper you often quieted to hear the noise of the world, is now your primary compass. Trust it. It is the voice of your own soul, aligned with the purpose that was designed for you even before you were born. The new beginning. God has prepared for this Friday is not an empty promise. It is a reality already manifesting in every decision you make, from this moment of awareness onward. Observe the coincidences that will begin to appear, the conversations that will seem strangely aligned with what you need to hear, and the doors that, with no visible effort on your part, will simply open. This is the sign of your alignment. Maintain this high frequency, protecting your silence and nurturing your connection with the sacred that dwells within you. Your journey now